Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
He was the face of the pandemic, but the inquiry has been told that Matt Hancock's confidence veered into overconfidence, promises into over-promises. The head of the civil service said he felt the health secretary was a big problem. He told colleagues Hancock should be sacked and even shared his view with Boris Johnson that a change of direction was needed.
You told the Prime Minister to sack Mr. Hancock.
I don't think I used that word with him, but I did use it in a WhatsApp with Simon Case.
And you described it thus: to save lives and protect the NHS.
That was gallows humour. That's an echo. I mean, and I realise, of course, inappropriate even in a private exchange. Not something I would have ever expected to be public. These were, as I've just expressed, conversations about Mr. Hancock. I don't think I would have used the word sack with the Prime Minister himself, although I acknowledge I said it to Mr. Case. But he would have been under no illusions as to my view.
Boris Johnson, the inquiry has been told, does not believe he was told to remove the health secretary, who would stay in post for another year. Matt Hancock's spokesman said he would respond to all questions when he gives his evidence. Lord Sedwill paints a picture of trouble at the top. Small groups of people taking key decisions during a crisis they were ill prepared for. At one point, he describes Boris Johnson's advisers as brutal and useless and accuses them of behaving like a dictatorship. As the most senior official in government during the first wave of the pandemic, he became infuriated by hostile briefings against him, including a claim he'd described the COVID strategy in early March, which was then herd immunity, as like a chickenpox party, to the horror of Number 10 staff. Today, he apologised.
At no point did I believe that coronavirus was only of the same seriousness of chickenpox. I knew it was a much more serious disease. That was not the point I was trying to make. These were private exchanges, and I certainly had not expected this to become public. And I understand how, and in particular, the interpretation that's been put on it, that it must have come across that someone in my role was both sort of heartless and thoughtless about this, and I genuinely am neither. But I do understand the distress that must have caused, and I apologise for that, because it certainly wouldn't have been my intention, and of course I wasn't the one who made it public.
Lord Sedwill would leave Number 10 in the late summer of that first year. His successor was Simon Case, who was to find Downing Street even harder to bring into line. Tamara Cohen, Sky News at the COVID inquiry.